like getting randomly spat into the world and shit on. So are the games of our lives. Now I'm talking about video game spawns, of course. These are the games of our lives. Super Mario and Pokemon and all the games that took us to another place and made us wanna keep playing all night. These are the games of our lives.
Welcome, everybody, to the Games of Our Lives podcast. My name is Bill, accompanied, as always, by the legendary, handsome, beautiful Tony.
Dude, this guy with the intros.
And we also have another special guest. We have our friend Alex, who is on the show. Say hello, Alex.
Hello, everyone. This is Alex. It is great to be here. Tony and Bill have been friends for the longest time. I'm going to probably refer to him by accident as Dad at some point during this, so just roll with it. Got a lot of dads. It's confusing.
Well, we're super happy to have you here. We're going to be talking about a fantastic video game today. Tony, what game are we talking about today?
Halo. 1, 2, and 3.
Ooh, we are doing the triple threat. All right.
I hope so. I hope I didn't just ruin everyone's plans. I'm so focused on him Alex just set the bar so high for all future guests for like intros. No one's gonna top that. You really expect me to remember any of the content we're about to talk about after that?
I do love that you did 1, 2, and 3, and like I'm down for the trilogy, but I'm just sitting here staring at the like little recording screen, and the title of our session right now says Halo 3 with Farkles. But hey, I am here. I'm here for the whole shebang. You know,
we can talk about them all. I think to lump them in as a trilogy, I think at this point in history is a fair way to do it.
It's the Bungie Halos,
right? It's the Bungie trilogy. Like, what's not to love about it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank God, because I was like, if we just talk about 3, this is if we just talk about 3, this is gonna be a rough episode for me. But I thought we were gonna talk about all of them, but I guess that's probably insulting, right? Because Halo's so vast. But yeah, well, yeah, you guys take over and talk about whatever you guys want.
Well, before we jump into talking about whatever we want to talk about, I say we jump into talking about a little bit of the news. So just starting off, we've got a huge patch update for Cyberpunk 2077, the beta unfinished game that was released about a year and a half ago, cross-platform. There's a huge patch. It's like 60 gig patch, and it takes it from being a buggy nightmare to being a slightly prettier buggy nightmare. I spent about an hour and a half on the game, and either my muscle memory is completely dead for Cyberpunk, or I just don't enjoy the world of Night City anymore. But have you guys played Cyberpunk at all?
We'll let Tony go first.
I think that's the Sunset Overdrive game. When you say it, that's I think those are the same game.
You're not far off.
Tonally, they're the exact same game.
Yep.
So I guess those are games I kind of stay away from.
That's fair.
Balance.
Yeah, I played Cyberpunk. I had a lot of really fun experiences with the game. A lot of cars fell out of the sky. One time I had to delete a save file because my character got stuck stirring chili at a barbecue. I just couldn't get out of it. No matter how many, I shut it down. I reloaded over and over again, and
Still
the stirring animation. Yeah, it was like one of the romantic interests was like, "Hey, come back to the house with me," and my character was like, "No, I gotta stir this chili." But I liked it. I mean, it was a disaster, but I beat it. I liked it enough. Whatever. I want to try it again with the new patch.
I think it would be easy. I jumped into like my old save, so I wonder if just starting a whole new game is probably the answer.
Do you know if they've like added a new game plus? Is that a thing yet?
They have not added a new game plus, but when I loaded my file, all of my perk points had been removed from the perk tree, and now I had to like replace all 100, perk points. And at that point, I was just so overwhelmed because I hadn't played the game in almost a year. So I was like, So my brain shut down, and now I'm afraid to reopen it.
Yeah, you gotta lock that thing away.
I'm just gonna bury the whole PS5. I'm just gonna throw it into a ditch.
No man should feel that pain. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we wait another like 3 to 4 years for a new Game Plus patch.
Yeah,
It kind
CD
of feels like
Projekt Red, they'll have something out by 2025, easy.
yeah. All right. Well, I was gonna hop in
Definitive
with this
edition.
new next gen patch, but you've convinced me to wait until Definitive Edition 4.0 comes out.
Perfect.
I love Sunset Overdrive, guys. Yeah.
That was actually a fun game.
I do.
Sunset
I actually do love Sunset
Yeah,
Overdrive.
that was a really fun
Right.
game. I think it's the only Xbox like exclusive that I thoroughly beat and enjoyed.
That's accurate. Xbox One had a let's say rough life cycle, but that one was great. It was Tony Hawk, but you got Ratchet and Clank guns.
Tony Hawk, Ratchet and Clank, and like Left 4 Dead all combined.
And also, I guess Cyberpunk too, since Tony said it was in.
Totally identical. We're just gonna move on here. The next piece of news, rather, apparently, some Halo Infinite Forge mode is going to be coming soon, which sounds super exciting and a reason for me to actually play Halo Infinite. Alex, did you heard about this?
I have. I'm excited. So neither of you have tried Infinite, right?
Correct.
Right.
It's great. Halo is kind of back. Multiplayer has been a blast, but they did bafflingly kind of launch it without Forge or co-op campaign. Like there were a lot of missing features. So Forge is needed because the multiplayer is kind of like the best Halo has felt since like Halo 3.
Wow.
So I've been loving it, but yeah, it is in need of content. And Bill, I'm with you. Like Forge is just so much fun to mess around with.
Forge is the only way that I've really experienced Halo as a whole, but when I saw that, I was like, I think I might be downloading this game sooner than later.
Hop in. We can start playing. Be a blast. Tony's got to buy a new Xbox that he can use for a month to play Halo again.
I think I got one laying around, Tony. I might be able to help you out.
Okay, there we go.
I'll pay
Actually,
for shipping.
you know, I think Tyler's borrowing my my Xbox One. So if you just hit him up, that might
Sure.
be the move. He might be able to hook you up.
Does
Can
he
I just-
really have it?
Yeah, he has my Xbox One.
I'm gonna have to send that boy a text then.
You just got to check the community sign-in sheet for Bill's Xbox. Figure out where it is at the moment.
Hey, I'm not home using it, so store's open, I guess. Speaking of stores open, Nintendo announced that the 3DS and Wii U eShops will be closing permanently starting in 2023, sparking a lot of online debate. A lot of people are very upset with Nintendo closing this eShop because it basically permanently removes a lot of these games from existence. If you already have the game downloaded, you can keep it, but if you once the store is gone, they're no longer accessible titles. What are your guys' thoughts on the responsibility of a video game company to maintain accessibility to downloadable exclusive games? I'll go first.
Okay.
Like, so a lot of people say that this responsibility falls on Nintendo to maintain the existence of these games. And I kind of don't feel the same way about that, because while it's a nice service to provide, and I think it would be cool for Nintendo to like try to maintain something like that, some of these games are pushing, 10, 15 years old. Do you want Nintendo to just keep a 3DS, a console that is essentially dead to Nintendo, just keep that active forever? I mean, I don't know if that's reasonable to ask that of a company when, according to Tony, the greatest console of all time currently exists under Nintendo's care in the Switch.
I have said that, and normally I don't want to say normally, but I side against a company thinking that they should be responsible and perform upkeep and stuff like that. But how long do you have to keep that stuff up there? You know what I mean? If someone wants a game, they probably would have gotten it by now, I think. And I don't know. I think this is when you just kind of got to get with the times. All good stuff eventually gets shut down, or older stuff from companies. I mean, look at what they did with the Wii U. The online Mario Kart 8 after the Switch one came out was like so just not watched or like monitored. You know, it was just all like people hacking, and so it was just like a mess. It's like, all right, you just gotta. I don't know. I see both sides of it, but definitely more towards the. All right, it's been long enough. I think it's okay to not worry about this, so the company could pay more attention to important things.
Yeah, I think I mean I've been critical of Nintendo in the past for like the like faux scarcity stuff that they did with the Mario All Stars game, or what was the one with all the 3D Mario's
Yeah,
packed
the
in the
3D
collection?
All Stars.
Yeah, like I was absolutely against like the scarcity of digital copies. Like that was like one of Nintendo's biggest blunders in my mind. Like that made no sense to me. But this is just something like yeah, like you guys have been saying, it's a folly of digital marketplaces anywhere. You know, when a console is old and outdated and doesn't really have a user base anymore, they announced it ahead of time. Like if you want to buy some stuff off the stores, you still got, I would assume, a couple weeks, right?
You have a year. They're closing in 2023.
Oh, then yeah, what? Fine. Who cares? Download whatever you want now, buy whatever you want now, and then I would assume it's like any other marketplace. When the store closes, like you said, you can still re-download anything you've purchased. So yeah, yeah, it has nothing to do with licenses, right? It's just solely like you can't use the shop to buy new things
Correct.
after next. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think too, like the difference between Nintendo and like Steam, for instance, doing this. I mean, that would be catastrophic because you can't get
Sure.
physical copies, and Steam is like the only place to get PC games nowadays. But like Wii U, I mean, you can still pretty much get all of those physical. No,
For the most part, yeah.
okay.
So the next thing that's coming up is the video game Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is coming to the Switch Online. And if you needed another reason to get the Switch Online, here's one of Nintendo 64's best offerings. Pretty exciting. Last month they had Banjo Kazooie. This month it's Majora's Mask. They're really trying to go heavy with pushing for this new Switch Online Plus, especially with the recent announcement of Mario Kart and the recent Animal Crossing DLC. So adding Majora's Mask to the Switch Online just sweetens the pot. Good on you, Nintendo. Good for picking a good title.
The Big Moon spooked me as a kid, so I never beat that one.
Never played it. Too scary.
Too scary.
Listen, we're not here for horror games unless it's Left 4 Dead.
Even that one, I turned the gore off.
Yeah, you gotta, right? Next game, Horizon Forbidden West was just released today.
Sully.
Uh, yes, starring Nathan Drake and Sully.
Not quite. You jumped the gun on that one a little bit.
Took a shot. Took a shot.
Almost there. This is one of the more highly anticipated video games of the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 years. Horizon Zero Dawn was an instant classic to those who played it, and Forbidden West coming out seems like a slam dunk. Looks cool from all accounts. Haven't played it yet, but what are your guys' thoughts on the Horizon series if you played it?
I'll go because Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably you haven't played Horizon, right?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay, all right, yeah. I'm gonna say something a little blasphemous right now, so work with me here. I know I'm in the wrong place to say this, but I actually got the first Horizon at the same time as Breath of the Wild,
Okay.
and one took over a little bit more than the other. Breath of the Wild is probably in my like top 20 games of all time, but in the moment, like the first Horizon was just like everything I want. It was like so pretty, robot dinosaurs, the whole thing. I thought it was awesome. So I'm super excited about part 2, but
No, I don't think that's particularly blasphemous. They both came out right around the same time,
mhm.
and they both kind of quelled a similar desire for gamers. Having, two could have been overwhelming. I, of course, was in the other camp playing a little Breath of the Wild. I only sunk about 200 hours into that outing, but Horizon, great game. Forbidden West looks awesome by all accounts. Like the graphics look absolutely incredible. The game looks gorgeous, and I can only imagine that it's going to be a really solid video game experience. Last bit of news. Now, this is the
Sully.
Here we
There
go.
we go.
What is this?
The Uncharted movie releases today.
Oh, Uncharted.
Yes, the game starring Nathan Drake and his elder gentleman,
Spyro.
Spyro, aka Sully.
What are you guys talking about?
Mark Wahlberg stars as Sully alongside Spider-Man, and they are treasure hunting, I assume.
I would like to talk about this, but first, can I ask Tony? Can you rank your favorites in the Uncharted series? There are
I,
five, so if you want to just give me your list.
um.
Actually, games first, and then characters second, if you don't mind.
All right. Games. That's easy. Can't beat. You know. Just a classic order of which they came out in. I mean, it's just unlike Halo. I mean, I think Halo got better over time. I think Uncharted kind of, just consistently was like, all right, we're just gonna be like a little bit like worse, but not bad, because what's like the 7 or 6.9, 6.8, all that stuff. So probably just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then
Yeah, yeah, spot on.
that's I mean that's easy though. Everyone knows that. I feel it's obviously. And then character wise, I'm gonna say Jordan. You could probably put Jordan at the 2, and then Magic at the 1. I'm gonna I'm gonna actually put Shaquille as the 5. I think he's probably the best big man, and I think you could probably make room for Duncan on that team too. And then that's tough because I want to put Braun in there, but it's just I don't know. I really like Shaq and Duncan, but obviously you got Kareem, you got Bill Russell, you got you got so many good guys in these games, and I just being able to just narrow it down to my favorite characters in the games would be so. It would just be not fair to all the other great characters. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna leave it at that and let you guys take over.
Yeah, no,
That
that's fair. That's fair.
was beautifully done.
You didn't like you weren't bothered by like in 4 and 5 how they made like Shaq the primary antagonist, like that didn't turn you off at all, or
I feel like that just happens. You know what I mean? People just whenever someone starts getting too big, everyone just wants to try to bring them down, right? So I feel like that's just a very normal case of that, unfortunately for him. But look, by the time the game's where it's at now, look how he's just everyone knows who he is now,
Just
right?
evolved as a character. Kind of a beautiful turnaround.
Yeah, just a good guy at the end.
yeah, yeah. I mean, no complaints. Everything you're saying tracks. Beautiful arc, beautiful character.
Yeah, I feel weirdly having to educate you guys, with stuff. I
Yeah, it
thought you
is
would know stuff
yeah.
like this. I don't know why you're asking me.
We brought it up. So it is weird that we kind of quizzed you on it, but
But you came through in flying colors, just proving to everybody that you have a firm grasp on the concept of the Uncharted series. So that's all we're going to say about the Uncharted movie that is now in theaters. I think it's a theater exclusive. No television for you today, boys.
please don't go see it. Casting Mark Wahlberg as Sully is a sin and should be treated as such.
That's fair. That's fair. He's too young.
He's just Mark Wahlberg. He can't do character work. It doesn't work.
Hey, say hi to your mother for me. I'm Mark Wahlberg. So that's it for the news, folks. Today we're going to get right into the nitty gritty of what we're talking about today, and we are talking about the Bungie trilogy of Halo. Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2 Combat Evolveder, and Halo 3, most obviously entitled Combatist Evolved.
All of
Now,
the combat.
there's so much combat, and it consistently evolves. I do like that the Halo Combat Evolved Wikipedia article, by the way. This is just great. Halo 1 redirects here for the 9 Inch Nails song that uses this pseudonym. See, Down in It. Just thought that was a weird...
I'm gonna need more on that one. Can you give me what does that mean?
So, Down in It is the debut single by the American industrial rock band 9 Inch Nails, released back on September 15th, 1989, taken from the band's debut album, Pretty Hate Machine. The first song ever written by frontman Trent Reznor. So one could say that without Trent Reznor, Halo Combat Evolved would have a completely separate Wikipedia article.
Not where I thought that sentence was gonna end.
This is literally what happens when you don't donate the $2.45 to Wikipedia.
Wikipedia's so broke, they're just throwing random articles at you.
They will start to fall apart, and we will notice it.
All I can say is, thank Christ, 9 Inch Nails saved Halo's Wikipedia article.
Trent Reznor, a known donor to the Wikipedia funds.
He gave his $2.50 for sure.
why don't we just give a brief overview of what Halo is? If you were to give it a brief breakdown, Alex, what would you describe as
Thank
Halo
God.
in a nutshell? Tony with the dodge.
I feel like I'm in school again.
Okay, all right. So, like, in 100 words or less, Halo, you're a big, strong, green spaceman, and you are on usually a ring. Sometimes they just don't even include a ring in the Halo games, which is absurd. But you fight aliens, and then sometimes you fight robots. But no, wait, we're doing just Bungie. Okay, so just Bungie. So just aliens, and some of them are cute and funny, and they say funny things when you kill their big elite friends. A lot of vehicle combat. My girlfriend always refers to when she sees a ghost. You guys know what the ghost is, right? In Halo,
Yep.
Yeah.
she sees those and she goes, "Oh, look, space beetles." So now I've started calling them space beetles because I think that's adorable.
It's pretty accurate too,
It is.
honestly.
It's super accurate. The sounds they make, I mean, it's just spot on. Campaigns are cool. Has a nice rounded finish story that they ended perfectly with 3 and then continued for like 15 more years. And the multiplayer is, I think, Halo 3, in my opinion, is like the best FPS multiplayer has ever been.
It's certainly up there. It's certainly up there. Definitely, especially for its time.
Oh yeah, for its time, yeah, it definitely has lost some of that crown by this point in time, but nostalgia factor and everything else, it's still way up there for me.
I think that's a really well put way to kind of put Halo into a nutshell. Halo, the first game came out in 2001, developed by Bungie, published by Microsoft Game Studios. This is the game that put the Xbox on the map, basically. And you're right, you play as Big Space Man. You are on a ring, also known as a halo, out in outer space. And the whole purpose of the game is to run through, shoot a bunch of aliens, and save the day, more or less.
Yeah, that's accurate. Or if you're 9-year-old Alex and you just got an Xbox, the main purpose of the game would be to play the first mission until they gave you a gun and then shoot your captain in the head, and then all the Marines on the ship get really mad at you, and you got to hide in this little cubby until they kill you.
Oh, there's like a thing where if you shoot, like if you team kill in the story, they'll go after you.
Yeah. If I think if you kill like 1 or 2 Marines, like all of the other Marines start shooting you, or if you shoot like the captain of the ship, who's like a main part of the story, right in the face, the second he gives you a gun, he's like, "Here's your pistol, go kill some aliens." You walk out of the room, the game loads up the pistol, and then I strictly turn around right there, go back in, shoot that man in the head, and then I jump into a little hole. I remember it because I do it every time I play Halo 1 to this day.
It's pretty incredible, and I wish more games were like that.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's the right react. Everyone's like, "Oh, like that's super not cool. I guess we're going to shoot the big green man, even though we thought he was our friend."
Like I feel like any other first-person shooter, they either block the ability to shoot an ally, or they just kind of sit there and take it.
Yeah,
And which I think by having the team turn on you, it really immersion's there. Like that's a genius move, Bungie.
Bungie deserves. I mean, just for thinking. I mean, someone on the development team was like, "But what if in like 4 years, 9-year-old Alex really wants to shoot the captain? Do we write a contingency for that?" And everyone was like, "Yeah, let's do it. That's super fun." Unlike Call of Duty, who does like that, like you were saying, like you shoot one friendly and it's like the friendly fire not tolerated nonsense, and it ends the mission. Stupid.
Right. I never understood that friendly fire not tolerated malarkey. It seems ridiculous, honestly.
Let me have a slip up every now and then. Just blow off some steam if I
Right.
need to.
Everybody gets one. Come on.
At least one.
Right, per load up.
Per day.
So the the main character for the franchise, and specifically for this trilogy here, is Master Chief. Master Chief is big green spaceman. He's what's called a Spartan, which means that he was born in Greece, obviously, and fought against the Persians in the Great War. You've all seen 300. Now, what else makes Spartan Master Chief man special? Like, what's the difference between a Spartan and like a just like a guy with a gun? Is he just like stronger? Did they inject him with like go juice and say, "Alrighty, buddy, you're the guy"? Is he even a person? Is he a human?
I'm gonna use the knowledge I don't have plus what you just said to say I think he's just like really tall. He's really tall and strong. I don't know.
Mr. Chief, you're the biggest we got. You're the only one who fits in this armor.
We kind of made the armor before we found a guy, so we just gotta wait until a 7-foot small child comes in it.
Now you can do a lot with this suit. Just make sure you don't turn around and shoot me in the face after I give it to you.
Oh man, he's gonna do the thing I told him not to do again.
Damn it! Why did I plant the seed in his brain? I should have never even said anything.
I think the whole thing, like, I haven't read the books. There's a lot of Halo lore, and I think the whole thing is like they're all part of a Spartan program, and they like snatch them up as kids. And Cortana chose Master Chief as like the tallest, strongest kid. so that led into some training, and now he's big green man.
And all you have to do is give him a Halo 1 pistol, and he's good to go.
Oh, he can kill anything with that.
Well, I mean, one of the greatest weapons in video game history, I would assume.
It has to be.
Just felt good.
Felt
good to just bop people with that.
Oh, bop is a good word.
Because you can bop people with it, but I think, also shooting with the bullets that come from a gun, I suppose.
Yeah, but nothing as satisfying as that bop sound. He like flips it too. The punch
clean.
I mean,
it's clean.
It's got a nice little you bop and then he flips it like a cowboy.
I mean, Master Chief he's a cowboy, a space cowboy.
It all comes together.
I didn't play that much of the story or campaign for Combat Evolved, but I definitely played a little bit of the multiplayer. Now, this was before Halo became Halo 3 and evolved. Combatist evolved. Can you speak on Halo 1's multiplayer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you remember, but it had some like super iconic levels. Like you said, the pistol was a 3-shot kill, so that thing became just a pure like dominant force whenever you played it. It's
right. The pistol was the meta.
It was the meta. Yeah. I mean, everything in Halo 1 was like absurdly strong. There was just some like goofy stuff that I remember doing as a kid. If you drove like the warthogs at each other super fast, the physics were just bonkers. So you would kind of hit and one of the two would get launched like 400 feet into the air. And that was a blast. The like splattering people physics in that game were like, if you're a big green strong spaceman, but if a vehicle like touches you at 1 mile an hour, just instant death. So like there was a lot of weird mechanics in Halo 1, but like I don't know. It's one of the first. It was like GoldenEye and Halo as a child, so like they are always going to hold super special place.
Speaking of vehicles, Halo did introduce some of the like most iconic video game vehicles of all time. One of my favorites, of course, is the Warthog. I mean, I don't know, like the controls for driving in this game are so different than driving in other video games, but it still feels so good to drive, and the way that they implemented it was like super smart. You basically just point your camera in whatever direction you want to go and hold up, and your car's like, I got you. I don't know what I'll do. I'll abandon physics and I will get you to where you need to go.
Which is so accurate. And like what baffles me is so many other shooters have vehicles in them and nobody has used the Halo control scheme. And all of the other shooters that do like driving usually suck. Like just like you said, there's a little arrow. It's the center of the screen. Wherever the arrow is pointing, you know your car is going to go there. That is like such a simple mechanic that everything should use, and it doesn't.
Like, no need for reverse. No, I will pivot on a dime and just make sure we're going here.
Do you think the Halo Warthog influenced the 360 lawnmowers that people use nowadays?
Oh. I mean, it has to be, right?
I think it has to be.
Like, I don't think that that's even up for debate. I think that's just the inspiration. Tony, what's your favorite Halo vehicle?
The Ghost.
What is the Ghost? What does that bad boy do?
Oh fuck. It's like.
Sorry for waking you up.
Oh, no
That mid
problem. No problem.
podcast nap.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like it's like a hovercraft kind of. I don't know, dude. It's like a ghost with like wings. It's like a car, but it don't got wheels. It's got like two wings, and it's like a aerodynamic kind of thing, but it doesn't go too high. It's like it doesn't fly, but like hovers. But like you could do like wheelies and stuff, even though it don't have any wheels. And then you can hit people with it and shoot laser beams and like like you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's accurate.
I'd say it's pretty accurate.
Now, Tony, to keep you on your roll here, I believe there is a flying one too, right?
Oh
Like a big
yeah,
ghost.
yeah,
Remember that
yeah,
one?
yeah. That's a big ghost. Or the yeah, they took it from Mario Kart actually, the Banshee boardwalk, except it's not like you don't fly the whole boardwalk, you just fly like a ship. Um
Right.
and it's got like the wings are just like they're a little more narrow and they're pointed down. That's all for like gravitational, forces and mechanical kind of stuff. And that one
Right.
has like jet laser things and you shoot up in the air and that one you actually fly and you can do like barrel rolls and stuff and the backwards rolls and forward. You can do just a lot of rolling, and you can shoot stuff with that too. And if you're feeling kind of crazy, you can actually like nosedive into the ground and try to hit people with it. But they could hijack you. They could hijack any vehicle. Um, yeah, that one's fun.
So vehicle combat definitely super cool thing that they added to the game. Really added layers to the combat, and it was always cool when you had like somebody in like a ghost or a banshee, and the other person's in a warthog. Who's gonna win? 9 times out of 10, everybody died. Just everybody.
Almost everybody died.
That's like one thing I kind of liked about Halo, because Halo kind of had this concept, and I feel like you didn't see it in a lot of multiplayer shooter games up to this point, where you would have a lot of like one for one trades if you ended up in like a 1v1 combat situation where both players would just be shooting at each other and approaching each other. You both cast out a melee attack and you both just die at the same time.
It's what the meta community refers to as a double beatdown.
I think double beatdowns are kind of like an incredible thing to add. I don't know if it was an intentional thing or not, but it makes you still like, even if you die, it makes you feel okay with it because you're like, all right, at least I got a kill out of it. Like we're still net neutral here. I didn't just die. We did this together.
It was shared and it was beautiful, and I can
N-
be happy in death.
Next time I'm coming back with my energy sword and making sure that doesn't happen again.
Exactly. But even the swords, remember they added the thing where you can just you kind of like bash swords for like
Yeah.
45 seconds until someone bashes faster than the other person. They added like the sword canceling in. That was in Halo 3, but that just added to what you were saying. Like most interactions in Halo, both people die if they're close together, which is, I guess, good.
I think it makes you want to keep playing, as opposed to like you're less likely to like rage quit, I think, if you get a trade. Whereas in Call of Duty, you just like disappear to the ground when some guy 2 continents over yeets a knife, and you're just like, oh, okay, cool, 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 cool. I love this game. Cool, 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 cool. I'm glad that my death was in vain. Very nice.
Not the stupid games.
Favorite situation of all time.
I mean, that's like the biggest difference because like Halo, like you were saying, you do die a lot, but like the high like time to kill in Halo makes it so much less frustrating because when you die, you feel like you had time to get out of the situation or fight back and you lost, and that's fine. The other person was better than you or they had a better weapon or whatever, but it's not instantaneous. And because they do that, they can get away with a lot of like shit that makes no sense. Like you were talking about the vehicles, like you get in a tank and you're like, oh man, this is super powerful. But then like every vehicle in Halo, it's just like they kind of forgot to design the part that goes over the driver. Like Warthog, he's just like sitting there exposed. You just shoot his head out of the side of it. Tank, like this giant armored vehicle that shoots tank shells. Like, oh, you can snipe his little head out because for some reason it pokes out of the top like a little whack-a-mole thing. Like, it just the design makes no sense, but high time to kill and not trying to make everything overpowered is a good design choice, I guess.
I totally agree. I think there's one last thing that I want to bring up about Halo 1, and then we can move on to Halo 2. Is Blood Gulch one of the greatest multiplayer maps of all time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Moving on. It's just damn good.
Yes.
I wrote like my favorite maps for every game in Coag. I mean, I started with Halo 2, and it's literally on like every like time it's been remade. I'm like, oh yeah, Coag still the best.
It's not bad. No, it's incredible. I think we're going to wrap up Combat Evolved. We're going to go to Halo 2 Combat Evolveder, or as Wikipedia would like to say, this article is about the video game. For the Nine Inch Nails album that uses this pseudonym, see Pretty Hate Machine.
Oh, that's
with
back, huh?
What is with Nine Inch Nails and Halo? I'm so like, what is happening here, Halo?
Wait, didn't someone do like a weird hard rock cover of that? Was it Breaking Benjamin? Did they do a thing for Halo 2? Someone did a thing for Halo 2.
Oh, I did not know that.
It was one of those
Gwen
bands that could
Stefani?
only exist. Yeah, it was Gwen Stefani.
Probably
I think.
Gwen Stefani. So Halo 2, aside from being somehow affiliated again with Nine Inch Nails, came out in 2004. I believe also for the original Xbox, not for the 360 hadn't been released yet. And the cover shows the main character Halo, aka tall guy Master Chief, holding two guns, so you know it's a sequel. The dude's dual wielding, and this game, I mean, it took everything that came out with Halo and just, I feel like, just kind of made everything just better and bigger and more fun. Tony, how would you describe Halo 2 in a nutshell?
Wow. Just an FPS masterpiece, I think. I don't know how my little boy body stumbled upon that game, or just hearing how much it was getting delayed and how hype it was. I was like, all right, this is going to be the best game ever. And I got it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely the best game I've ever played. Besides, like, Pokemon and stuff, I never really played a lot of shooters, and I was just so spoiled with that. I mean, probably easily thousands of hours put into that game online. I mean, I would wake up in the morning, put my headset on, jump on Xbox Live, and play until bedtime and do nothing else. I mean, that was one game that is in my top 3 of all time, and I've absolutely love it. And I don't know really to describe it evolving from Halo 1. It's just such a. I like games that aren't overly realistic to the point that they're corny. Like, I think that's why my favorite football game is probably 2K5, because it's like, it's still a game. So I think when you're talking about enjoying a video game, it's important to make it less realistic and more fun, whatever you have to do to make that happen. And I think Halo 2 really does that, because even when you're trying to snipe, you know what I mean? It's not like there's a little bit of a follow on there, kind of like I forget what it's called. With you're trying to shoot someone in the head, and it just kind of goes to them. Just a very very slight thing, but like little things like that, or just the overshield or the active camo, like all the different kind of guns and all the effects that they have. It's such a amazing multiplayer experience, and yeah, that's one of the best ever. I think the best ever. I'll always say that, but yeah, that's one of my favorite games ever.
And this, just to add real quick, this Halo was the first Halo to have online multiplayer, and I think that was insane at the time, because like online console multiplayer didn't exist, I don't think, before the Xbox. So this really, like, Halo 2 was a huge deal when it first came out, and listen, we all spent a lot of time, all right, in coagulation. We all spent a lot of time. I liked Zanzibar personally.
Zanzibar's
Alex,
great. Zanzibar's great.
Love
Everyone, this
Zanzibar.
was our first experience with online bullying for probably most people too, which was
it's
great.
true. It's true. It helped us to form who we are as gamers today. So if you're ever playing with one of us and you hear some toxic words come out, you can blame Halo for it. It's all Bungie's fault. Pass the buck, baby.
It's not. I have no responsibility for what I say because I played Halo 2 in 2004. You cannot hold me accountable.
That's right. To borrow from the great Nolan flick, you were surrounded by darkness. I was born in the darkness.
I knew it was going to be Batman. I didn't know what Batman quote, but I knew Batman was coming.
Sully.
Sully, woo!
Alex, what's your favorite multiplayer map in this game? Tony's is Coag. I'm guessing.
It's not. It's
Oh,
not. But Alex can go first.
In Halo 2, I'm struggling. Oh, okay. So Lockout is way at the top. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I liked Lockout. I liked Zanzibar. The one with the wheel in the center.
that one's Zanzibar, I believe.
No, that's
Ascension.
the vertical wheels. Ascension, yes, Ascension.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the island, like in the sky.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one was great. And Coag, of course, too. But I don't know, like something about Halo 1 worked better for Blood Gulch than Halo 2 did. And I think I loved Halo 2. I mean, it was a massive step up in every way. But I think the one thing that like I don't think Halo 2 quite got right is every gun but the BR was totally worthless. So like that's my biggest like if you didn't have a BR, like they added dual wielding, which was super cool, but that made like if you had one SMG, which is what it started you with, it was just unusable. The pistol was a gun that seemingly did not shoot actual bullets. So
And the BR battle rifle that had the 3-round burst,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just consistent. It was like that and the sniper were the best weapons.
yeah, they were incredible. And then everybody knew all the tricks. Like Tony, I'm sure you remember like BXR, which is like a thing where you punch somebody and you like cheese the reload, and it's like you kill somebody without them seeing the animation of what happened to them.
You could like ghost kill people in this game.
Yeah, it was absurd.
That's
Yeah.
kind of hilarious.
Yeah, games that have stuff like that I think are so good because that reminds me a lot of Melee, kind of like Super Smash Brothers Melee, where there's so many really cool advanced like technical things in the game that I don't know if they were intended or not. And BXR was, yeah, you B to melee someone and then you X, and that basically cancels the animation, and then you could just, if you time it right, because it was only a few frames, then you could just shoot them once, and because they have no shield from the melee, if you hit them in the head, it's like an automatic kill, and it turned into like a whole pro play thing. There's like BX being double, just like all crazy cool strats that made the game like even more appealing when you're like, oh, you could learn how to do that and like get good at these like pro things, and yeah, it was fun.
That's really cool. I never knew that about that, and that's really unique. Now, as far as your favorite map, Tony, what would you go with?
Oh, I was gonna say Lockout. Actually, I think Lockout's just too good of a choice, but they're all so they all hold a place in my heart. Sanctuary, Ivory Tower, Midship. They're all really. Those are probably the best. Ascension all come to mind.
I forgot Ivory Tower. I love Ivory Tower so much.
Oh, Ivory Tower is so good.
Now, apparently, there's also a campaign attached to this game. Is that true? And if
Mhm.
so, how good is it?
I suck at Halo campaigns, but I remember everyone loving it, whatever that's worth. I know there were a lot of. I played the game obsessively, but I think there were way more like diehard fans of the series and the lore and the characters and stuff. I just like getting my hands dirty online, you know it. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I forgot the question.
Do you only play as Tall Man Chief in this game, or do you play as anybody else in the campaign?
You play as Scaly Worm Boy as number 2.
Ah, okay. Scaly Worm Boy, aka Arby.
Yeah, Arby. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like a neat idea. Like plays an elite. They're friends now sometimes, and they're like, let's try to change it up, make it so he has like active camo as an ability, but it lasts for like 2.5 seconds if you turn it on. I didn't like any of the Arbiter stuff,
Right.
but the Master Chief stuff was like so good that
It made up for it.
yeah. Did you play the campaign for 2, Bill?
If I did, it was a long time ago.
Okay.
I remember driving through a really long tunnel in one of the first levels
There's definitely a tunnel in that level.
and drove for like a long time. And by the end of that tunnel, I was like, man, I'm kind of wiped. Do you want to play some like Mario Kart instead? And that's what we did, actually.
Okay.
I think
All
we
right.
got IHOP and then played Mario Kart after driving through a really long tunnel in Halo. I was just a little overwhelmed by how much tunneling there was.
Yeah. So the Halo driving just worked up an appetite that you had to go satiate and then play Mario Kart
Then I was
afterwards.
like, let's get some good driving up in here.
Yeah. Hold on.
Well, yeah, to be fair,
Hold on a
as
second.
far as first person shooter driving goes, I mean, Halo's top tier.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good distinction.
Yeah. Can't hold it. Can't. We'll talk about it in Halo 3 because I think there are some really interesting racing opportunities in Halo 3. But do you guys have anything else you want to add to Halo 2? Just I know it's one of Tony's favorite games. Tony, you have any things you'd like to talk about?
The only other thing that came to my mind actually was with the. It's not really advanced tech, but there were cool little things you could do to like kind of break the game, and you could do a lot of like glitching to get out of the maps, like boundaries and stuff, and really explore deeper into these levels that you thought were so cool. You could do things like super jumping if you went. I don't even know how to describe it. You'd have to land in a certain area like while crouching and then jump out and like land in a certain spot and just do very specific things, and weird things would happen, or you could like do like a sword cancel, like you're in a lunge towards someone and cancel it, and somehow you guys could use that to keep jumping off each other's heads and get to areas you weren't supposed to. And it was just a game that was like deeper than it was intended to be, and there was just a lot of beauty in that, I think.
Super bounces were such a good time.
So
I
much
lost
fun.
so many hours doing the. They had it. They had one on what? They had one on Zanzibar. They had one on Ascension. Had a fun one.
Koak had one.
Yeah. That's right. Did you ever get the? I know you didn't really play campaign, but this was like another one of those glitches. Did you ever get the Scarab gun in campaign?
Oh, I remember that. I don't know if I ever actually got it, but I remember hearing about that and being like, no way, there's no way you could do that. I think once I actually did, now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay, because that was incredible, and that was probably the most in depth. I remember how to do it still to this day, and that was the most in depth glitch I've ever had to do in a video game ever. And it was so frustrating. I remember I was doing it in split screen co op with a friend from back home. You guys remember Mitch, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And his mom had to come in at one point and yell at me to stop yelling at Mitch.
That sounds like the most on brand possible story.
Yeah, no, I mean it was very fitting because what you had to do is you had to. It was actually in the tunnel level, Bill.
Okay.
But you couldn't drive. You had to trick an enemy banshee into. You couldn't kill it. It couldn't kill you, and you had to trick it to following you through that entire tunnel.
Oh no.
And then you had to get it stuck in this like little person-sized tunnel. And while it was just like stuck there, you'd have to punch the wings off the banshee, but not kill the banshee. You could not kill the banshee. And if at any, I mean, there was an AI in there, so if at any point it was like, I don't want to do this anymore, it could just fly away and ruin it for you. So it was a complete nightmare. And if like your teammate, like Mitch, sorry, Mitch, he walked off in a different direction and like kind of like it pulled away towards him and then broke and then flew out of the level, like that was it. You just had to restart. So it was a nightmare.
What does the Scarab gun do? Like what? Why would people go through hell and high water to achieve this?
So it's just if you get the banshee through, you can fly into it's the mission on Earth with like the big city.
Okay.
And you got to fly to the top of like one of the buildings that you're of course not supposed to be on, and there's just a plasma rifle that sits up there, and you pick it up and it shoots like remember the big. So the Scarab is like big spider.
Yes. Yep. I'm
Okay.
familiar with the Scarab.
So the plasma rifle you pick up shoots out that beam that just obliterates anything. Like if you shoot within like 50 meters of yourself, you kill yourself immediately. So like you have to be very careful with the gun because it just shoots out like a nuke. And it's like a steady stream too. Like the game runs at like 2 FPS while you're firing it because it has no idea how to handle what you're doing.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But it was incredible. It was such a good glitch.
Is it? I wonder if it's still attainable through with like the remakes and re-releases.
It should be. I think it's still in the collection that you have.
Oh, sick. Okay. Cool. That sounds hilarious.
Just watch a video and then try to do it with a friend and get really mad at him. But no moms to yell at you anymore, so that's the good news.
No. You got to get your friend and then go to your parents' house with the Xbox and then recreate
Okay.
the magic.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you were right, by the way. It is Breaking Benjamin dropping an instrumental version of "Blow Me Away" that plays during one of the battles in the game.
I hate everything about that sentence.
The only song in a Halo game not made by 343i or Bungie. They chose Breaking Benjamin of all bands.
That's just so disheartening.
You know what? I'm actually upset because you'd think, based on Wikipedia, it'd be 9 Inch Nails.
Did the 9 Inch Nails contract come in like 10 years after Halo finished releasing games? Like what?
Had to have been, right?
Why are they linked?
I don't know, but I think we should jump over to Halo 3. Are you guys ready for it?
Yes.
Halo 3, I gotta bust out the wiki article for this. This article is about the video game. For the 9 Inch Nails song that uses this pseudonym, see Head Like a Hole.
Oh my god.
Why is there a 9 Inch Nails? I
don't even know what the pseudonym is. I don't know what we're comparing it to.
Like, do they... does 9 Inch Nails have a song that's like, it's called Head Like a Hole, also known as Halo 3?
And the Master Chief and Arbiter.
Like, what the hell is happening? If anybody has answers to this, you gotta let us know, because I don't understand why I thought it was funny that it did the first one. In fact, I didn't even realize it had 2 and 3 attached. I thought it was just gonna be a funny little one-time bit, but here we are with a Head Like a Hole. 2007 is the year that Halo 3 was launched by Bungie for the Xbox 360. Came out in like the fall of 2007. Very, very highly anticipated game. I think this, at the time, was the most highly anticipated video game, period. I know people were just chomping at the bit for it. It was the first Halo to come out on the Xbox 360, which, let's be real, one of the greatest consoles of all time, at least for its time. But Halo 3 was special as far as like new features for the game. It had the Forge mode. I'm trying to think what other like major features it had other than like, updated graphics and
theater.
What's that?
The theater mode.
Oh, theater mode. Yep.
I love that.
Theater mode where you could save your gameplay basically and get film clips and screenshots, which, I mean, this was important for a lot of like YouTube franchises. Like, I'm pretty sure this is where Red versus Blue, they would get the footage from. And Red versus Blue is a YouTube show starring a bunch of red Halo men and a bunch of blue Halo men in a little comedy universe. Yeah, no, this game is rated M for mature, for blood, gore, violence, and mild language.
Did your parents let you play Halo when you were...
So Halo 3 came out when I was...
in high school. So.
When I had already graduated high school, actually.
Oh, okay, then...
yeah, this is... Because I was class of 2007. This is September of 2007. So I was already a college-bound boy somehow.
I'm not going to retract my question.
Yeah, no, yes.
Okay, thank you.
The answer is yes. This game was awesome. You had to... Let's just do the story real quick, and then we'll get into the fun stuff. So story, and I'm just making this up as I go, but you start off, you're running through a jungle, and you play as Master Chief again, and the bad guy in this one are the Flood, which are like parasite monsters.
I mean, no, but I'm gonna let you. I want this to play.
And probably the Covenant, aka the aliens, they're probably bad guys again, or not. I don't know, or maybe just a couple of them are good guys. Who knows? And then they stopped the Flood, and they all decided to play Forge Map Editor, which is where the game really shines. And then everybody played Halo ODST afterwards. The end.
That is a accurate and unbiased synopsis of Halo 3. And I think we can just move on.
So what is your guys' most memorable moment from Halo 3 in general? Tony, what do What are your thoughts?
It's weird because, excuse me, I definitely played a good amount of Halo 3, but just doesn't stick out like Halo 2 does for me. I had to go back before we started recording and look at the maps for Halo 3 because I was like, oh, I don't really remember. And now, like, 3 and Reach and 4 are kind of getting all, like, stuck together in my head. But
That's fair.
I remember High Ground was good, and Valhalla is a new name for Coag, which is a nickname for coagulation, which is a new name for Blood Gulch from Halo 1.
Yep.
And then I think Guardian was Lockout, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm always down for Lockout. I put a question mark next to Guardian because I couldn't remember, but yeah, I don't remember too much. It was fun, but I definitely didn't play as much as Halo 2.
Yeah, they definitely had a bunch of remakes of older maps for sure. Like even Last Resort was a Zanzibar remake. That might be like
Mm.
my favorite Halo map of all time. I don't know.
I think Last Resort was better than Zanzibar, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because I think they're identical, but I think it just flowed better with like Halo 3's gameplay.
For sure. I remember one of my favorite memories of this game. Actually, I'm pretty sure I was playing with you, and it was like me, you, Tyler, and a handful of the boys. We were playing a mode where one person, and this is Forge mode, where people could create maps and come up with all sorts of game modes and stuff like that. But there was a mode where like there were like one or two people as like snipers 100 feet up in the air, and you had like kind of a whole view of the map, and the map had a whole bunch of areas that would obscure the little players that were down below, but you had to either reach certain checkpoints or something like that while there's two snipers up top shooting at you. And that was some of the most fun haloing that I think I've ever participated in.
Oh my god, hang on. I know what you're talking about, and I'm trying to think of the name for that because it was like you said, everyone is up top with I think it was snipers and Spartan lasers, right?
Yes, Spartan lasers were there too. Yep.
Yeah, and then the little like ants on the bottom had to go between. It was like a VIP like King of the Hill like capture the point kind of game.
Right. But you had like I don't know if it was just because of the way Forge was made or this particular game mode. I don't even know. It may have even been like a legit game mode in the game, but
That was definitely because it was on the desert Forge map,
yes,
sandbox or something.
it was like the desert at night.
Yes, yeah. That was okay. Yeah, I love that one. I'm trying to think of what the name was because there were so many good like custom creations in Halo 3, and I know we played that a ton. They had that playlist, which I think is a playlist they still do in the newer Halos, Action Sack,
Okay.
and it was just that. It was like all the goofy. They had like sumo wrestling in the Matador mode where someone was like in the brute chopper and he was the bull and everyone else had swords. Like it was all the goofy game modes on
The
the Forge
goofy game
maps.
modes were so fun.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I love those so much.
And I was never incredibly good at the combat in general for Halo. So it was really, really fun for me when there were like different like racing game modes that came out where people would make these elaborate courses for either the little ATVs, I forget what they're called in Halo.
Mongoose.
The mongoose, yes.
Mongoose.
So you could either ride the mongoose. They made all these crazy racetracks where you drive around, and it was so fun, kind of navigating these courses as like a almost traditional racing course, but using the controls of Halo, and it led to a lot of like goofy stuff, and it was just so much fun.
All of it worked better than it had any right to. Like I didn't think it was gonna like all of the game types were so fun. They flowed so well.
It's almost crazy that it's a console game. Looking back, like the fact that Halo 3 is a console game and had this much creativity abound inside of it, you really think this would be more tailored for PC, but the fact that it's on Xbox is crazy. Like the amount of time and work that people put into creating these masterpieces of different maps and different play styles is just really, really cool.
It's so cool, and I think that's why like we've mentioned it before, but that's why Halo 3 became my favorite. Probably part of it was because it came out like freshman year of high school for me, so like it was my entire high school experience was just playing Halo 3 all the time. But um, it was the one Halo that found like the perfect balance between like if you wanted to do social goofy stuff, like it was there in abundance. If you were like a hardcore ranked player, like the ranked system was like more robust than ever. And like even in the custom games, I remember there was something called like tournament or tourney or something. I don't remember how it worked, but it was like BR starts and it was like a cage match, and whoever won, they like spawned in stairs for you to fight the next person, and it was like an evolving circus of like 1v1 like hardcore BR fights. I mean, just like the
Mm-hmm.
amount of stuff you could do in Halo 3's like Forge system was like perfect for people who like you and I who wanted to play goofy, and then when I wanted to get a little more ranked and serious about it, I could still have that satiated too.
They really they had everything covered for this game, and there was a little bit of something for everybody in Halo 3. It's really impressive looking back.
Campaign was great. I don't. You did you play that one, Bill? I feel like we definitely did a run through of the
We
campaign at some point in time. We had to have.
I think me, you, Tyler, and somebody else must have played through it at some
I,
point in time, because that was right when Xbox Live was kind of like hitting its stride.
Yeah, and I have weirdly vivid memories of. Do you remember the last level where you're driving all the vehicles across the floor that is giving out in the sky?
Yes, yes,
Okay, because I
yes.
definitely played that with you at some point in time.
We
That happened.
absolutely did. We had to have. Tony, do you have anything that like jumps out at you as like something special about Halo 3 that you really enjoyed?
I also actually remember that last level and doing co-op online with people. I think that's the only thing that made the campaigns like playable for me, to be honest, because I'm so bad at them in games like that by myself, and it wasn't an easy game, especially on Legendary. There's no way I could beat that game on Legendary alone. But yeah, no, I remember having good times with Halo 3, and I'm sure I played with both you guys at some point too. But that was definitely a smaller run of Halo in my Halo history.
I think I mean the only thing that would really make the Halo 3 discussion complete would be if Tony could list his favorite characters from Halo 3.
Just your top 5.
Your top 5, sorry.
Top five?
Yeah, and no, I know there's a crossover with the Uncharted games, but it cannot be the same 5.
Oh my god, that's like impossible. All right. Let me think. Does this game even have five characters in it? I mean, this is kind of a crazy question, right? But
You can include the twins as one character.
all right, fine. Sleepy and Dopey are one and two.
Of course.
Bashful, Donner, and Blitzen.
You know what? There, I think
That's
Donner's
yeah.
underrated, but I appreciate that you put him in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of I don't know. I don't know why everyone always assumed he was underrated. It always kind of bothered me because he seemed just like a fine character. But I understand people like the show offy. You know what I mean? The blood. You know the other guys. You know what I mean? Cosmo.
Now, before we jump off of the Halo train, I do want to just bring up. I did look forward to Halo 4, 5, and Infinite just to see their Wikipedia articles, and I'd like to just read off these because apparently, wow, Nine Inch Nails just got got their grubby little fingers all up in the Halo universe. Halo 4. This article is about the video game. For the Nine Inch Nails song, see Sin, the name of their song. Halo 5 Guardians. Halo 5 redirects here. For the Nine Inch Nails release that uses this pseudonym, see Broken. Halo Infinite. Halo 6 redirects here. For the Nine Inch Nails release that uses this pseudonym, see Fixed. I almost want to just type in Halo 7 just to see what happens. March of the Pigs by Nine Inch Nails.
Oh my god, what is happening?
Why?
That's a major spoiler for Halo
What is
fans.
happening? Well, listen, Halo 8 gets you to the downward spiral, okay? Halo 9, that's closer. We all know that song
By Neo.
by Neo. Halo 10, further down the spiral. Halo 11, the perfect how many freaking I'm actually afraid to just like keep going through with this because I just assume that every single Nine Inch Nails song is now a Halo chronology of their entire work. And according to Wikipedia, it goes all the way up to Halo 34 Ghosts.
So Halo can never make enough games to free themselves from the stranglehold that Nine Inch Nails has on them.
Like, goodness gracious. And it's crazy because Halo started in 1989. But the most recent Halo release was in 2020 with Halo 34, Ghosts 6, Locusts.
Locusts are cool.
I do like Locust.
They're definitely biblical.
Wow, never listened to those guys before, but I'm thinking after this, maybe I should look into them because not like I care about the Halo lore that much, but if they had such an impact on the game,
Right, like if it's that important to the franchise, then like it'd almost be a disservice not to go listen to them.
As a Halo fan, yeah.
As a Halo
Yeah.
fan, like if you're a lore master for Halo and you haven't listened to the entire discography of Nine Inch Nails, you're a freaking poser.
yeah.
Heard it here first.
Wow, that's coming from people that don't have one person that doesn't have the newest Halo or Xbox.
Make that two.
It doesn't matter. Both of you have listened to all 34 Nine Inch Nails songs.
we are officially more aware of what's going on in Halo than any of y'all.
Until the 35th Halo comes out, you guys are covered.
Right. And it seems as if these come out maybe faster than the Halo games themselves. So
Yeah, it sure does seem like it.
so we may be on an okay pace to just keep on keeping on. I think we are going to jump ship on Halo here, and we're going to move on to what we like to call interviewing the guest host of the show.
Interviewing the guest host of the show.
Now we're going to be bouncing off some questions off of you, Alex. Tony has a few written up. I have a couple as well. We'll just kind of go back and forth. Tony, how many questions do you have lined up?
51 or 52, I think. No, I have 3.
Perfect. I also have 3. This is fantastic. You know what? I'm going to say, Tony, go first. Fire away.
Are you sure?
Unless you want me to take the reins on this one.
No, that was for Alex. That was the first question. Are you sure?
No, not really.
All right. I'll hit you with a different one then.
Okay, thanks.
I'm going to put on my serious interviewer face. Now, Alex, outside of the podcast, you and I have been good friends for a long time, and I know you as a movie guy. So, you have any favorite video game movies? And and consequently, and I don't think I'm using that right, do you have any favorite video games that have come from movies, maybe like the Bees game?
Yeah, well, to answer both of your questions, I think I would go with the B movie, the video game, and then
Perfect.
conversely, the B movie. But to answer the first question, in all seriousness, I am of the opinion that there has never been a good video game movie. People like to say Sonic, but I thought like Sonic was a pretty 4 to 5 out of 10. Like, I didn't hate the time.
I'd say Sonic was fine.
Sonic was totally fine. Yeah, I think like the hype was completely undeserved because it was, by all accounts, a pretty average animated movie, but it was so far ahead of like a lot of other video game movies that people were like, wow, this didn't make me want to die, so it's got to be really good.
That's actually giving it higher praise than Tony would give the movie.
Yeah, we'll come back to the question in a second, but Tony, do you hate the Sonic movie?
Oh, I watched like, I don't even think we got 10 minutes in, and I was excited for that too. I was like, wow, they did a Sonic movie. All right, my girlfriend and I sat on the couch, we put it on, and right at the beginning, they're like, oh, let's hit you with the heartstrings like as hard as we can, and now we're just going to make Sonic no matter if they fix the appearance, no matter what they did, that is just the most cookie cutter, unfunny, boring, basic bullshit and like Hollywood stuff that I don't like to see, and I could tell that's what I was getting in for within the first 8 minutes, I think 10 minutes, and I was like, nope, turned it right off. I was like, they're not doing that to my boy.
Yeah, you made the right choice. You didn't miss anything. I mean,
right.
If the first 10 minutes were miserable, it's not going to change.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I kind of figured that, but I know there are movies like I think it's called like Free Man or like Ready Player One, or maybe that's a book, or like.
That's two different movies.
All right, so we got a handful of different movies. But any movies like that, have any of those ever like sparked your interest, or would you give any of those like a 6 or a 7? Even has any video game movie ever surpassed a 7?
Those are confusing for me because
They're
I haven't seen either. I'm not really into I'm not really into the whole Ryan Reynolds thing.
I've actually
Gotcha.
seen both, and I can tell you they're not good.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I read the book Ready Player One, and I thought that book was incredibly overrated. People love it, and I think it's just a bad book. And I watched the movie, and I hated that even more. And then Free Guy, I am a Ryan Reynolds person, right? In fact, I enjoyed my time with Detective Pikachu, but I hated Free Guy. It was one of the most boring, just pointless movies I've ever seen in my life, and Will Ferrell's my favorite actor, so that just goes to show you.
Is he in
Okay.
that movie?
I was confused by the correlation, but I get it. You were just setting a bar, expectation bar.
Right.
Okay, well that answers that. I mean, because I haven't seen those, but I know those are more like movies based on video games as an idea and not specifically like,
Mm.
like a Free Guy has references to a bunch of stuff, right, Bill?
Right. Correct.
Okay. I think the only thing that comes to mind too now that I think about it is the Prince of Persia movie was also not the worst thing in the world.
300?
Is that the one with Jake Gyllenhaal as the Prince of Persia?
Yeah, which I think I mean, it wasn't good by any means, but he's so handsome,
He is easy on the eyes. You're not wrong.
So that gets me right there.
You ever seen Nightcrawler?
God, I love Nightcrawler so much.
It's a good movie, right?
It's a great movie.
We'll talk about Nightcrawler.
He's less handsome in that one. But it's a great
But it
movie.
doesn't matter because he's there.
But he is there.
They must have did that on purpose for his character's aura. But some people would probably find him, well, not me, but some people would probably find him more attractive because of that, right? I mean, some people would.
I mean, I kind of liked it.
Oh, see?
A little rough around the edges. Hey, there's a market for it.
Did I? What was the question? What was the question?
No, you passed. You passed.
I
It's
passed?
Bill's
Okay.
turn.
Alrighty. So, Alex, growing up, we became friends through one of our mutual friends, Tyler. And me, you, Tony, Tyler, and a handful of our other friends all hung out on a pretty regular rotation. And one of the things that we did almost every time we ended up hanging out was we would play a game called Manhunt, which is kind of like a hide and go seek tag. Growing up in New England, America, where's the best place to hide in a game of Manhunt?
Oh my god! So all of New England is in play?
Sure. Or just like a general suburban neighborhood.
How much of the Atlantic Ocean will you consider in play?
I would say the ocean is off limits.
Okay, all right. So all of New England, everything's in play. My answer is going to be the top of the shed on.
That's a pretty damn good spot.
Because they got to climb up to get you,
Right.
So it's really a waiting game at that point.
Right. Not only is it hide and seek, but it's also there's a tag element. So it's easy to get down from there, but much more work to get up.
Yeah, and when they come up, you jump off the front.
It's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Yeah. Somewhere in the woods, we used to just lay down and kind of put our hoods up and just hope the round would end without anyone wanting to put in the effort to come out there and find people laying in the woods.
It's true.
So all my answers are going to be my yard that I used to live in.
Tony, I'm going to extend the question to you as well. You got a favorite spot to hide in a game of Manhunt?
Nah, that game was scary.
All the more reason to hide. So where would you hide?
I probably at home. I probably just wouldn't come over.
Just go home.
Yeah, I didn't like that game too much. It was just dark. It was just like everything that I was actually hanging out with you guys kind of like opened me up to stuff like that a little more, because I never really did stuff like that growing up. I was real like sheltered and overprotected a little bit. So So yeah, the thought of being out at night when it's pitch black, just like going in the woods where there's like ticks and like crazy deer and what I mean, stuff like that, and
Hey, mouse.
just
There might have even been mouse deer out in those woods for all
there
we
could
know.
have been,
It could
there
have been
could
some
have been.
master.
I remember just like I can cutely segue into something that doesn't have anything to do with what you asked me, but I do remember, Alex, we used to do something else I didn't do as a kid, but something that I picked up from you guys. It was called wrap duct tape around a stuffed animal's mouth
Oh no!
and leave it in the middle of the street. The car's driving by, and now to me, when I first saw that, I'm crying right now thinking about it. I'm actually crying. Yeah, that killed me as a little kid. I was like, "You're really like." I cherish all my stuffed animals. I still have most of them. Like one of them is my best friend in the world. I have a tattoo of them. Just like, oh, stuffed animals are like precious little things, and you're just like, strap on duct tape around its mouth and throw it in the middle of the street, like to the fucking wolves.
I think
God,
we put it in a chair, maybe.
Sometime.
it was always changing. Sometimes it would just be like Tony said, kind of flat on his face in the dirty road, duct tape around his mouth, and all of us would just be sitting in the woods and never really thought to go anywhere else except the corner that was touching my. So like,
Your yard.
yeah, so cars would drive by and be like, "Oh, I wonder who put Charmander in the road again."
Again.
The
And it's like
19
the same neighbor is just like
Yeah.
placing it on the side of the road and just shaking their head.
Shaking their head, driving around. We used to put like we would do two stuffed animals playing chess sometimes, which
I
like,
remember that one.
by all accounts, I mean to this day, like in my mind, hilarious. Why would you get mad at that? But I remember someone picked up the chessboard and like threw it at our house one day. And I thought, how did they know it was us?
We were pretty bad at hiding in retrospect because I remember a lot of times we would just there'd usually be like somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 10 of us.
It's a lot of people.
Which is a lot of people. And we would hide in what you said, the woods, which is like a 20-foot patch of light trees from the yard to the road, which there's no shot that people didn't see us. In
100%.
retrospect, we were terrible at hiding.
It was a giant group of moving young boys. And I think one, they would see us in the woods. Two, bafflingly, we were always kind of in the road unprepared when a car would start to come.
Right,
They'd see
one of us would
into the
always
woods.
be at the scene of the crime 24/7.
Someone would say lights, and then that person would run. But like, yeah, of course the car saw the person run into the woods and then crouched next to the 7 other boys in the woods already.
Right. God, we were so good at pranks.
I've done the best pranks. And then someone took Charmander. Remember that? They stole him.
This is the saddest day.
It was devastating. I didn't treat him well, so I guess he probably found a better home.
Just like in the anime.
Just like in the anime.
Tony, you got another question lined up?
Who won those chess games?
Some of the less pleasant details are coming back to me now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and share it. But I think if I'm not mistaken, we did the chess games when it was my mom and I trying to take care of the pool by ourselves. I don't know. You don't need this part of the story. Anyways, a lot of squirrels would die in our pool because the pool water was always green. So I think the chess game was always between a dead squirrel and Charmander. And I think usually Charmander would probably win because the squirrel was dead.
It's fair.
Bill, anything?
I'm dying.
Thank you for that.
What was the question?
No, I just wonder if like anyone driving by would stop and look at the board and be like, "Oh, well, how did Rook get to E4?" You know what I mean? Be like, "Oh, that's not a logical game. Like these stuffed animals clearly don't know what they're doing," and then pick up the board and throw it on your yard angrily. As a chess player, not as a
Right.
angry driver.
That has to be the most likely scenario, right?
just we disrespected the game of chess, which is
Right.
why they're upset.
You lived near a grandmaster growing up, and they just took it so personally.
I know your favorite Halo is Halo 3. What you got to make your own emblems in the game from Halo 2, which I really like, your own little symbol and you customize it with colors and stuff. What did you rock? What kind of like armor and gear and emblem did you rock?
I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, we discovered when I like first met you in high school, or maybe when we played at some point in time, that we rocked the same emblem. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember I always rocked the cowboy kitty.
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. I had a pink
Wow.
kitty, brown cowboy hat, and that was just what I used for all of the Halos. It's still an Infinite, so I still use it.
That's so good. I remember in Halo 2 I used a lightning bolt because that's Halo 2 and talking to two kids, Ryan and Skip from Florida. If you ever hear this, or Ryan and Phil, I think was his real name. This other guy, Travis, he'd always come in and be like, "What's going on?" And I thought they were like the coolest kids. This is my question now, by the way. And they just like got me obsessed with ACDC, and I was just like, "Oh, okay." And that like shaped my childhood. And these strangers tell me about like Danzig and all this music I'd play. My sister would be, "You hear what he's listening to, Mom?" And talking about like doing crazy shit. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool." But yeah, the lightning bolt. And then when we started playing, it was always Cowboy Kitty after that.
I love Skip. Skip's a good
Yeah,
joke.
dude,
Shout out
Skip and
Skip.
Ryan, dude. Dude, fan of the week. Skip! Thanks so much for listening to the podcast, buddy.
All right, I got a question for you. So before we recorded this episode, we were the original plan was going in with Halo 3, but we were also kind of talking about like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, because those are games that were important to us growing up. Alex, do you have a favorite Guitar Hero or Rock Band song that you like to play?
I definitely do. I know, I know there's a war, and we're on different sides of the war between Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
I feel like my stance has softened over the years,
Okay.
and I am firmly in the camp of, as long as it's fun to play, I don't care which one it's on.
Yeah, that's fair. I grew up. I Rock Band had the better music. Rock Band, of course, like started the whole like you're a band, and that was so cool. I just did not like how the guitars worked in Rock. I don't know what it was. They just
I
didn't.
agree. And
It
I
didn't
think the
feel as good.
guitars were just poorly made compared to the Guitar Hero guitars.
Yeah, yeah, it didn't feel great. And even now, I have Rock Band 4, and then I have my old 360 for all the Guitar Heroes. But favorite song would definitely be something from Guitar Hero 3, because that was when I was like at my peak
Yep.
Guitar Hero playing. And I want to say the the Cream song. What?
Was it Higher Road?
Hang on.
Sunshine of Your Love.
Maybe Sunshine of Your Love.
I think it might have been Sunshine of Your Love.
Can I throw this back at you, Bill? Do you have
Yeah.
anything that comes to mind? All right.
I liked Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson. That one was a
Ooh.
lot of fun to play.
So fun.
Just because it was all the hammer-ons and pull-offs, and you just did a whole bunch of fancy finger fretting, and that one was one of the more fun songs to play, I think.
I loved, yeah, because, okay, so that was one of the two I was thinking of. It was that, and then my favorite was Cult of Personality, was the one I couldn't think of.
Ooh, that was a good one. Tony, do you have a favorite song that you like to play in the Guitar Hero games?
Probably Ruby, I think. Ruby, and there was another song, not on the set list, on like the alternate ones.
Mhm.
It was I think it was like Here Come to Alex, that German song. It was like that or something else. I
Yeah,
don't know. Yeah,
that was one of them, yeah.
Yeah, I like that song a lot. Ruby too, and My Name is Jonas. Those are probably my top three. My name is Jonas.
That was
I had to do the whole song, so give me like 4 minutes.
I mean, all good songs.
Great
Really?
song, yeah.
That's the best Guitar Hero.
That was that two?
That's three.
That's three, yeah.
Okay.
3 was really, really, really good.
3 was great. I remember, so Tony, Ruby is like one of those songs that I have just a horrible memory of. And it's a great song by all accounts, but for some reason I'm just double calling back to Mitch in this episode. But That was his callback tone for like 2.5 years.
Oh
And every time I called him, I had to hear the chorus of Ruby, and I was like, please change this. I don't like this song that much. I don't want to hear it every time I call you.
no.
I mean, it's a great song, but like nobody likes Ruby that much to make it their callback tone.
Not for 2.5 years.
Not for 2.5 years.
Listen, the Kaiser Chiefs have their place in the world, and that's about it. It's not on Mitch's phone for 2.5 years. That's for sure.
It should not be there.
You know what? I gotta mention this now that we're talking about this. Sometimes I'll I'll call my sister whenever I do, and it'll be like, "Please enjoy this music while your party is being connected." And it's literally like that. Da 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 da. I'm just like, this is. I don't think there were ringback tones since like 2006. You know, so I'm like, did you just not get a regular dial tone for like the phone is ringing? I'm like,
That's 100%. I think your sister might like have a burner phone for you. Because that's not. Nobody uses like a corporate line for a personal phone.
do those still exist? That's my my final question for Alex. Do people still have callback tones or like that music?
I mean, on the Tony phone, on the Tony line, they exist.
It's only when you add Tony as a contact, you're like, you got to make sure you have a callback number, a callback line ringtone for him.
Beautiful.
They have to. I mean, if it's still working on your sister's phone. I mean,
Well, that's not. Sorry to cut you off. That's not the song she chose. They just don't have. They don't exist anymore. Like, I think once your song runs out, or you don't pay for it, or whatever it was, like 99 cents a week or whatever, or a year, or you just buy the song. Once you get rid of that, I don't know what happened, but instead of just making it a regular thing, they're just like, all right, here's the default like absent callback tone like song, and it's just that da 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 da. I'm just like, you got to get rid of that. People are gonna know that you had a callback tone in 2006.
It does kind of sound like the surfing song from Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, though. So I don't hate that.
Okay.
No. I mean, if it didn't represent callback purgatory, maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
That's fair. That's fair. I want to tip my hat to Alex for being on the show. I think I'm speaking on behalf of Tony as well here.
Yeah.
But we are coming into the segment of the show that we like to call Tip of the Hat, Wag of the Finger, where we like to give praise to those who deserve it and absolutely windmill slam the people who also deserve it. Tony, you have any tips of the hat to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you both real quick. Ready? A tip of hat and the wag real quick for all my grocery shoppers out here.
Okay.
Tip of the hat to Trader Joe's. They're a solid business, good employees. They're always very friendly. I feel like if they're not, they get fired, so they have to be, and they're just so good at it and always so helpful. And I like that store. Man. Good organic stuff, and the prices are okay. A little pricey, but now that everything's pricey, they're starting to seem pretty reasonable. And wagging my finger to Stop and Shop because that store is ass. That store sucks.
Yo, worst produce in all the land.
Worst store, worst prices, worst everything. Hate that store.
I'm gonna just interject quick here, and I think Tony, that was a pretty transparent kind of suck up to Trader Joe's, because if I'm not mistaken, there was a previous podcast episode where you guys are talking about maybe getting them on as like a sponsor or a guest. I see what you're doing, and I respect it. But I don't. I think it maybe was a little bit premature.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been our guest, Alex. Thank you so much for jumping out and coming and being on the show with us. But
I hope you nail it. I hope you nail it down, and I hope they're listening right now.
But they wouldn't even hire me when I put an application in. They're not gonna do anything with this podcast.
Do you think they remember?
They never forget.
I don't know. They have a deeper. There's some depth to the company or something to hire. I kind of like. It's not like Aldi where it's like seems like a cult, but like I feel like the higher ups in Trader Joe's are definitely just like. It's like the Happy Village or whatever in Earthbound, where they're just like, like they have no choice, so all the employees are just always polite, and it's not scary. It's like they're too good at being nice, which makes me.
Man, I had an encounter at Trader Joe's where one of the cashiers told me like his whole life story and like about like a concert he went to the week before. I'm like, where did this come from? I'm buying some lettuce and some chicken.
That's just the service you're gonna get there, which
Wow.
also subsequently makes, and I don't know if I'm using that right, makes me want to wag my finger to them for making me think that I'm not nice enough to be part of that crew. And this was years ago, mind you, but just so it doesn't seem like I'm sucking up too much. If it's me or them, I'm choosing me, baby. Sorry, Joe.
I'd kill Joe for you.
Appreciate that, dude.
Same.
Thank you. This is yeah. I don't see Joe on the podcast, right? He's not someone that's ever gonna get invited, like, especially not as early as you. So it means a lot that you say that, and I feel the same way. I hope there's no, Joe to kill. Though I wouldn't want to kill anybody. I wouldn't do that.
But
But
not Joe Staten, because he is the creative director of Halo right now, and we know his beautiful history.
And he is not a bad guy. Despite what might have been said during this episode, he is a probably good dude.
Probably one of the greatest.
maybe, and there will be no killing of anyone. We just have to for the the pencil pusher people that listen to the podcast. I want to start, because it's start. I hate to say it, but I kind of have to wag all of our fingers. I'm holding both their hands right now, just kind of by their wrists, into all the fans, because it's just like the blasting that we get on Twitter every week after we release every episode. It's just so constant. It's just so. Just relax, guys. Please, we're doing this. It's fun. We love having you here. We love making this content for you, but you gotta stop with me, you gotta stop with Bill, and then you beg us for a guest, we bring them on, and then you shit all over them when the episode's done. So just please, it's for fun, and we're having fun doing it, and we like talking about the game, so just hold it, and please, if you have nothing nice to say, then zip it up.
Looking at you, Joe.
Looking at you, Joe.
Tip of the hat to all these real people and companies that are absolutely taking what we say in stride and not coming after us with some sort of lawsuit. Just real character move on all of y'all's parts. There, I think we're covered.
I think that pretty much does it.
We're good.
Thank you for not coming after us in the same way that I would definitely come after Joe if he went after Tony or Bill.
I actually have a wag of the finger. I have a wag of the finger at the Nintendo Switch Sports online playtest that is live this weekend. They put out an announcement saying that they don't want people talking about the game or sharing screenshots or video captures of the game during this online playtest. To which I say, if you tune in next week, I will tell you all about the Nintendo Switch Sports online playtest. Nintendo can eat an egg.
I would like to resign my association with Darmani 12 from this point. I have nothing bad to say about Nintendo, and I want nothing to do with blackmailing or using their name to slander anything. So Pokemon Arceus is a great game, and that's how I want everything to be from this point forward. So, guys, it is, wow, what are we, 22 episodes, huh? I guess there will be no more episodes after this, but it was fun.
Happy to be part of the ending of the show.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's fun to have friends at the end of the world. Any other tips of the hat or wags of the finger?
I mean, I'm gonna give the obligatory tip of the hat to you both for making a very fun podcast that gets me through work a lot. So that's been wonderful, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
I definitely have a wag of the finger that I'm trying. Okay, yeah, one quick wag of the finger. I don't know if you guys have heard about all this, but one big wag of the finger to Paramount Plus, who is seemingly just desperate to just kind of dump out as much video game, television, and movie content as possible.
Oh, I hadn't heard.
It was like 2 days ago they announced like Sonic Part 3 is coming out. They're doing a live action Sonic spinoff. They're doing a Knuckles spinoff series. They're doing a Halo TV series.
Oh, I did see the Halo thing with that was at the Super Bowl. There was like a big Halo commercial.
Yeah, it all looks bad, and I just wish. I mean, I love movies. I love video games. I wish they would stop trying to be a part of each other's worlds. So, bad Paramount.
That's fair. I can get behind that sentiment.
It's a good wag. I didn't even know there was a Sonic 2, so hearing there's a Sonic 3 is a little wild.
Really
I,
unfortunate, you know. All right, I
Yeah.
have a question for you guys because I think we're all in the same camp where it's tough to come out with a video game that would be a good movie. Do you think there's a franchise that could do it? Like,
The Adventures of Dewey.
do you think it's even possible? Adventures of what?
Dewey for Nintendo Wii. Look it up. Look it up and tell me that face wouldn't make it on Broadway.
Now we're talking about the silver screen here, though. We're not
Oh,
talking
okay.
about
In that
Broadway.
case. Maybe Pugsy for Sega Genesis.
okay, we got one Pugsy.
Also, Dewey's Adventure for the Wii. I'm not gonna lie, that looks like the ghost from Sonic Adventure 2 Battle that you have to fight as Knuckles, and I am so triggered by it that I just want it out of my life.
All right. Well,
Dewey's
you're
making me
asking a question.
uncomfortable.
You guys are asking me questions. I'm just answering.
I think there's a lot of games that could. I just don't want it to because I think no matter what, it's going to be a lesser adaptation. Like I'm sure. I think the only bright spot is like the Last of Us on HBO. Like I think that's the right kind of studio
Hmm.
to handle a video game adaptation. Like somebody who's known for like premiere television and can spend a lot of money on a property. But I think best case scenario, we just get like a worse version of the game. Like still maybe a good show, but like I don't know. I think you can't go too sci-fi. Like Halo is never going to work unless you have like Disney money,
Right.
and I think you have to ground your story in reality if you want to make it like a decent adaptation. And in that case, like just why not play like Last of Us and Last of Us Two are good examples of games that have come so far with like storytelling and animation. Like why not just play them?
It's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. And I think you're right. Since most video games are not rooted in reality, it's really tough to even sell them as a video game in general without scrapping what makes the video game fun. Like even in the Pokemon movie, like Detective Pikachu that came out, you know, by virtue of what it is, you're gonna have to just create a whole bunch of CGI nightmare terrors, and that's exactly what they were. They were nightmare terrors in that game.
I didn't see that movie, but did they not? They at least like leaned into that, right? Like they kind of leaned into the Pokemon being kind of horrific
Horrifying.
looking. Yeah.
A couple of them, yeah,
Okay.
a couple of them for sure. But I think like I think the best way to handle it would be some sort of like a spin-off type piece of media, and not just the Super Mario Brothers movie, for example.
Yes, and certainly not the Chris Pratt Super Mario Brothers movie.
Man, that movie's got me so intrigued. I like. I think I'm. Let, am I excited for it? Am I scared about it? Am I? Do I want to like hate watch it? What's the correct
All?
position to have here?
Is it
All.
all?
I
Yeah.
think it might be all.
That shit looks like shit.
Fair.
There he
That,
goes.
that's all you need.
So, what video games have you guys been playing? Tony, kick us off. What games have you been playing this week?
Music making. It's a fucking game. That's that and Arceus.
What have you been doing in Legends Arceus? Have you been doing the old shiny hunting?
Little shiny hunting. Yeah, I'm trying to, go back and forth between shiny hunting and progressing through the story mode. And I, got to the end credits and started catching the legendaries and went through all the wisps. Shout out to the YouTube guy or whatever that made it a video of
Is
that.
that
And
Austin Plays character?
no, someone else. It wasn't even a person. It was just like I don't know. I was listening to music the whole time, just going completely off, like trying to keep up with them and
Gotcha.
visually. But yeah, I got all the wisps, and now I'm at the point where I'm just kind of shiny hunting. Probably got like 7 shinies so far, collectively, and I'm ready to start trying to fill out the entire Pokedex. And it's a daunting challenge. I think I'm pacing myself more so with that because I don't really want to get too overwhelmed by. I'm trying to multitask a lot of stuff between Yu-Gi-Oh music and enjoying Arceus and
Nice.
just hanging.
Alex, what have you been playing this week?
One of my favorite indie games of all time is The Outer Wilds. I think it's like probably my top 3 of video games ever. and
Okay,
they
wow.
they released an expansion that I'm super excited to try out, but I don't know anything about it. I bought it because I saw there was more content for a game that I love, so I'm going to start that this week, and then I've
Sick.
just been playing a little bit of Halo in my downtime.
Awesome. Halo Infinite,
Nothing
right?
wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah, the new Halo. It's been good. It's been lacking on content a little bit, but it's just the I always like to have some stuff I play with friends, and then all the single player stuff I play, which it's mostly single player, and then Halo on the side.
Hey, Forge is coming out soon, hopefully, so I'll be joining your ranks.
I can't wait.
As far as games that I've been playing, just been doing a little bit of shiny hunting in Legends Arceus. I did try the Cyberpunk patch update. I think I'm gonna have to start a new game to give it a fair shake, though. But what I've seen really didn't click with me. And the last game I played a little indie title just yesterday called Grapple Dog. It's a 2D platformer where you play as a little cartoon dog who gets tricked by a robot into unleashing him upon the world, and you have to go through these little 2D landscapes with a hook shot type grapple thing. So you're kind of grabbing and swinging along while collecting little gems and playing through a little cartoony 2D world. It's
This looks
fine.
adorable.
It is an adorable game. The aesthetics are great. I think the soundtrack gets a little repetitive at times, but it's an indie game. I think it's only like $10 or $15. So if you're into 2D platformers and you want to play as a cute dog, if you 100% a level, you get to pet the dog at the end of the level. I mean, what's not to love there?
I don't like that they're gatekeeping my dog petting.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I was actually really bummed because the game starts out really easy. So you like 100% the first 2 or 3 levels. And then I got to the 4th level, didn't 100% it. And I was like, where's my option to pet? Wait, I can't pet the dog. Ah! And I stopped playing the game. I was distraught. Okay, I felt attacked.
You are 100% justified. They can't throw that out to you and then take it away, reel it in. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
The dog doesn't know why you stopped petting him. You
That's
know
what I'm
what does he
saying.
think?
Dude, animals are dumb.
Oh man.
You got a cat that bites your feet.
Oh man. Listen, my cat does bite my feet sometimes.
Oh, both of you have cats that bite your feet?
I guess so.
The cats are weird.
They really are. They
First
they
cat.
they really don't like you petting them as much as dogs like them being petted.
No, they don't. They're a completely different kind of animal. You can't. I kept thinking that my cat was gonna be like a dog when she got here, and she's not. So
It sounds like
a finger for me
wagging the finger at cats.
for being a bad
As a cat owner,
assuming-
agreed.
Yeah, just a bad pet owner.
Kind of like when it came out a boy and you really wanted a girl, or vice versa.
Yeah, what's that feeling like for a person? You know, everyone knows how to act a little bit, right? I mean, when you get that news, it's like, oh my god, yes.
You tell the doctor right to his face in front of your wife. Can you double check? While holding a bunch of sports equipment.
Oh god.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much. We had so much fun recording this episode. Thank you for listening. Really means the world. Let us know what your thoughts are on social. You can follow the show at Games of Our Pod over on Twitter and on Instagram. You can also follow us on YouTube at Games of Our Lives. And listen, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, if you could give us a 5-star rating, it's great for visibility. And if you leave us a nice little Apple review, we will read it on the show. That is a guaranteed promise. Alex, do you have any parting words? Anything that you want to promote or?
Yeah, nothing to promote, but I'm Fargles on Twitter. Loved being on this. This was a blast. So thanks for having me. And keep on doing this, and I'll have something to do at work that gives me plenty of laughs and good times.
You can follow Tony at the Poker Rapper on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. You can follow myself, Bill, at Bill the Fajita, and Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. Tony, take us away.
Bill, thanks so much for another great episode. Alex, thanks for joining us in tonight's episode. Definitely one of the best. I laughed so hard today, and yeah, this was extremely nice. So thank both of you, and yeah, let's smoke, baby. Come on.
See you guys next week.